beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how it goes?
I love that we're talking right through it too the first time. Yeah.
That intro, my boy Jeremy.
It is Jeremy Price with Rootlock. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 13 of Beats, Brews, and Buddies. My name is Travis Schmidt. This is
Jeremy Price with Rootlock.
With Rootlock. Yeah. Today, ladies and gentlemen, on our beats, we are going to talk about what it's like playing solo. We're going to add our fifth C to our list, charisma. And we're going to do it all with our boy, Jody Ensor, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on here. I appreciate the claps. All good.
I have a feeling I'm going to be using these buttons a lot today with Jody. So, Jody, Jody is a hoot and a holler. So,
I appreciate that. Last time I heard that, I had to get married.
Here.
Wait a minute.
I did it.
know.
All right.
Can I touch the next one?
Yeah, you can. I promise. What's our brew today, Mr. Price?
Well, Jody requested Heineken.
Absolutely.
And it's one of my favorite ones. It adheres to the German purity law, 1516. Just like 3 ingredients in that guy. I love 3-ingredient beer.
I looked it up. I believe it's Dutch. It's a Dutch beer.
It's a Dutch
It's
beer.
made in Holland, yes.
But that law was in 1516. Reinheitsgebot is what it was called.
No,
and
I
they
think
said if you add more than what was it? Is it hops, barley, and water? Maybe malt. Any more than those 4, it's not beer. There's more to that story. You don't throw me under the bus there.
So Jody, just so you get a little context, my dad is a listener to the podcast, and
Awesome.
he sat with Jeremy and I and kind of gave us the 411 of how well we were doing, but we just don't do well at talking about the brew, and like we're amping up our game for episode 13. Look at that knowledge and that history of our brew today, ladies and gentlemen.
We're gonna get a little more into the brew.
Yep.
So that's Heineken. But today is about Jody, and I'm going to read this one. Jubial, Jody Ensor, started guitar at age 9. He's played with The Clue, Fat Daddy, Key West, Buster B. Jones, and then his influences we'll talk about a little bit later. But he hates jazz, not really. I prefer
I'm
fusion.
Have to defend myself here shortly.
No, that is his bio, and I win, ladies and gentlemen.
My friend was like, we need some controversy on the podcast. I'm like, you might be right, but not yet. And Jody's one of my best buddies in town, and has been, in a sense, a mentor to me because we both taught lessons at the Fret Mill quite some time ago.
Yes, we did. We taught a lot of students, too.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And our studios were beside each other. And we would step out and have, lesson cancellations or just a break in lessons and have chit chats. And I think I learned a whole lot about Jody there. And his name is Jubial. And if I would name, I wish my name was. I want to be Jubial because it's just the name is joyous. I mean, we call him Jody, but
so Jody's
in my phone as Jubial.
Jody's the nickname.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I grew up. Yeah, I was born with the name Jubial, and that's basically a Southern name as you could ever have.
Yeah.
And it's not anything that was tied to family heritage or nothing.
So, are you born and raised around here?
Oh yeah, yep. Goodview, Virginia, baby. Yep, 757.
He's already starting to call me baby.
Oh yeah,
warming me up.
I'm a southern boy to 8 Mater sandwiches every summer. So
You know what? And you have I wouldn't say it a southern draw, but like he's got the southern hospitality about him. Like he already called my wife sweetheart and was saying thank you and ma'am and everything. I was
called
like,
your daughter darling.
Yeah, called my daughter darling. I was like, I like this guy. I think the guests need to know that I'm coming in from a long trip.
You came from like the Midwest.
Yeah,
big time.
we're recording this to 7 p.m.ish our time here in Roanoke, and I just got in at the airport 6:10. I showered for these guys, and we're rocking and rolling tonight. Rocking and rolling.
Your energy level's impressive for someone
Thank
that's
you.
been through what you did today.
You know what? My daughter was really good on the plane, so that really helps. So, as we digress, started at 9. Who taught you? You started, and it says guitar.
Yeah. When I started playing guitar, there was no great epiphany. I just did it because I was bored. Straight up, neither one of my parents played, but however, they were both music fans. My dad was a big Ray Charles fan. My mother, Conway Twitty. I mean, I heard Conway Twitty my whole life. And I like Conway Twitty. I'm not going to, or Willie Nelson, geez, and that kind of thing. So when I started playing guitar, it's basically the 3-chord, folky, country stuff. And I played along with that for forever, really. And then as my interests started to progress and I understood there was more than 3 chords and 4 notes in the pentatonic scale, I started getting a little more interested in things. Of course, Eddie Van Halen breaks out, and I'm like, how is he doing that? But I'm in like the 8th grade. I had no idea there were no tabs. There were none of that. There's no YouTube, no cell phones, no nothing. So, as things started to progress, I'm like, this instrument really holds way more potential than I could ever imagine. And it did. It really did. It's kept me busy and entertained and just thought-provoking all the time. It never stops. It never stops. And then I met Buster B. Jones. If you go to Buster B. Jones, you'll see some of his stuff on YouTube. And, I mean, this guy is just off the hook. Yeah. But he's coming from the realm of Jerry Reed and coming from the realm of Chet Atkins and things like that. But in his wheelhouse, he was a master. I mean, I heard him play, and he was like you. Jeremy and I talked beside each other. I talked beside Buster. And I swear to God, I heard 3 guitar players just jamming. And I threw the door open, and it's just him by himself. I was like, you got to show me how to do that. I mean, I didn't really give the guy a choice. And we became friends, and he became really my biggest guitar mentor in terms of the way I play today.
Mm-hmm. Big finger picking style.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
absolutely. Absolutely. I owe all that to him.
I
really
am
do.
such a baby guitar player. I know more than the 5 chords, but
sure. And I'm sure
I definitely know my bar chords.
You've got a band. I'm sure you got more than me.
And I do, but there's so much more to the instrument. And you are, I want to say, 2nd, 3rd guitar player on here. Brian Holt, Mike Havens, Chris Burton plays. You're 4th or 5th here. So we've had quite a few you guys on here. I know Alex Gross dabbled in it, so you guys got to know what you're doing. But that style of music is very closely related to the area that we live in too.
It is. It's totally related to the bluegrass kind of style, the 1-4-5 chord progressions and boom chick boom chick boom chick boom chick. Yeah, you hear that a lot. Absolutely.
So talk to us about Fret Mill. And you know what? Before we get to Fret Mill, there was probably a journey between 9 years old and
it was quite a bit. I play with a lot of buddies. Kelly Scott being one. He's one of the players around here. You might get him, you might not. I don't know. But John Ayers. We started this little band back in like 7th or 8th grade. Parents, we're loading all our stuff in our parents' cars and all this stuff and. Playing backyard parties, which was a lot of fun. I think a lot of it, too. When you have older siblings that have parties that are like, say 5 years older than you, and like, well, I can get us a band. My little brother's got a band, So next thing, we're playing for these people. We're playing CCR tunes, Skinner. Not necessarily well, but they enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And also that puts you in front of people, and it also makes you go through the rudiments of being in a live situation.
Yeah.
It really does. And so, it doesn't take away stage fright, but at the same time, you're definitely used to that environment.
Yeah.
It really is.
I think I most certainly got my start playing for my friend Matt, his parents or my parents or
yeah.
I mean, they would yell at me, "Little Jeremy, come here and play a piano."
Totally.
And I enjoyed it. I wouldn't tell anybody I enjoyed it, but when it got more serious, we put the skateboard. We get a skateboard and put the drum kit on it, stack it up, kick drum, floor tom,
nice,
rack tom, small rack tom. Hey, dude, hold the snare, I don't want it to fall off.
Right,
that kind of thing, and push it down to his house and set up and play for whatever parties, whatever get-togethers they were having. And you feel so cool about yourself. It's ultimately just your own basement or your friend's basement, but you get familiar with that feeling of I'm really being watched.
Right.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're under a microscope. In a certain sense, you are.
You are.
You are.
I think we all got to start that way.
Mine was at a retirement home.
I was going to ask you.
It was a retirement home with a very, very young Christian group.
Nice.
And they were snoozing for sure.
And still telling you to turn down, right?
No, I just never. That's true. I just never forget this one lady was just so comfortable on those big chairs.
Because you're playing the sweetest ballad?
We were playing I was gonna name a song, but "Awesome God" or something like that, and some beautiful ballad. But and then we did do a few. Corey and I, my little brother, we did a few backyard shows. We got hired for a quinceañera once, and it was
cool.
So that was cool. But yeah, there's just something to be said about that being watched.
Yes.
Playing in
For the first time, yeah.
We played in a few gyms for like overnights, like Christian overnights and church overnights.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just so loud.
Let's talk about how good they sound.
No,
Right.
let's not. The ears still ring 15 years later.
Yeah, well, you have all these amazing just musicians that got their start in church or in where we came from. I didn't come from necessarily a religious background, but we're put in front of people and, go ahead, do your thing, and it really is the case. And some of these people.
We talked about that last week with our last guest because he started in church and
Sure,
that was everything.
and there's nothing wrong with that. It's all awesome.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
It really is.
Jody, do you remember your first paying gig?
No. I will try to go back and say
What's one of your first paying gigs?
one of my first gigs where we had money in a hat was a keg party. Obviously,
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. So we're out in the middle of nowhere, Bedford County, Virginia, and we probably played maybe 15 songs. CCR, Skinner. This had to have been 80, maybe. Yeah, it had to have been 82, maybe. And, so older siblings, I got us a band. Those and they helped us load it in. We're just doing our thing. And they passed the hat and we got to keep the money. I don't even remember how much it was. It was maybe $20. But, being, I don't want to incriminate anything, but, being underage, you got to share in the vibe of the room and all that and stuff. And so, but yeah, we had a great time. And that really, I'm not going to say that was anything negative at all because we had a great time. We were all safe. We all got home safely. So,
Well, I think a lot of the smaller communities, when you do stuff like that, they take care of you.
They do.
Too.
They really do.
You
get coddled. Yes.
Well, we talked about that a lot. Like, sometimes that's all we want is just give me some food. If you're starting out, give me some food, give me a drink.
Right.
And let me walk home safe.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Let me get there. Yep.
Yeah. When did you know you were hooked? Because you said it wasn't like you didn't have a moment where you go, I gotta play guitar.
Right.
When were you hooked? And
that
brings you to here with all the skills that you have and all the experience.
There was no epiphany. Basically, what it came through was I started playing because I was bored and I was listening to music all the time. I think a lot of it came from when I realized that holding the instrument against my body and it vibrated, it felt good.
Really?
That was it.
It's a sensory
seriously,
thing.
I can still sit on the couch in the morning and play a G chord and go, man, it feels good.
It's going to be a good day.
Yeah, or that guitar's out of chord, out of tune or whatever. But I'll fix it. But still, the way the guitar vibrates against my body will always be the main reason that I like it.
I'm making my first note.
No, do it. Do
The
it.
way the
You didn't know
guitar
that about me, did
vibrates
you?
Against my body.
Yeah.
No, that's probably why we're kindred spirits. Because I play for similar reasons. It wasn't like I want to be this guy.
Nah, that was never the case.
I get captured by certain rhythmic things, and all goes away.
It's the feel. It's the feel of it.
Developed heroes later. It is the feel.
Yeah.
The heroes came later, then I'm like going, oh my God,
That's so opposite for other people. I think a lot of people, and I like that. I think the feel comes first, and then you dive into who's going to be your musical mentor,
Absolutely.
or who you're going to put on a pedestal.
Aspire to be and all that stuff.
Inspiration, yeah.
Totally.
And all that's necessary, I think. But it's really nice to hear that you are more hooked just because of the guitar on your body itself. Like, I like this thing. And then that's a cool starting place.
And then when I got an electric guitar and you play that chord, let it feed back.
Yeah.
Empowerment, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or play that A chord and it's just hitting you right in the chest and just go, I can control this. It's like riding Pegasus or something. I don't know. But
Hercules,
right?
So did you go to college? Did you play in high school?
I am a very untrained, unaward-winning guitar player. I guess the best way to say. Basically, my environment and my pursuit of what I like to do has put me in touch with people who are very good at what they do. And I learned from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've met just the most awesome people doing what I do, and I really look up to these guys. And meeting Buster, or just Tom Bresh, or any of these rock guys. I mean, too, I've never met Angus Young. I'd love to someday. But, some of the really good blues guys are really, really good. Hoppy's great at it.
Hoppy Vaughn.
Yes, he is. It's just a matter of seeking the wisdom and then putting in the time to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Seeking the wisdom.
Yep.
There's.
Constantly
I am
searching.
not against education.
Yes. Oh, anybody that's gone to college, and yes, absolutely.
But I love hearing stories about people that don't have that education background and they're so freaking passionate about it. And like Jody, you're sitting here and you're just lighting up talking about it, man. And
it's beautiful.
It's you. I mean, he's feeling the vibrations of his guitar, and that's what makes him happy. And I think we take that for granted. The small beginnings of what makes this fun for us. And so if you're a young listener, hear that. Like, what makes you happy?
Yeah, and it's okay for the urge to play music to be primal, to be more instinctive.
Oh yeah,
it's very primal. It's tribal.
And I can
really
say
is.
this, because I think like Jody and I have known each other a long time. Probably the closest guy I've had on the podcast, Mike Havens being a close second, maybe. I don't know, but we made sure to keep people out of from in our inner circles, not in the first 5-10 episodes, because we really want to, rally the community and all that. But I've spent a lot of time with Jody, and when I met him, I was in that area of like, do I want to go to school and do this? I want to. It was more because I didn't want to do anything else. So the only way to make that happen would be to go to school, right? The only tried and true way. And then, teaching beside Jody for so long, he just started pointing me, not intentionally pointing me in a direction. I watched very closely. I'm like, this guy just plays when he can, as much as he can. Yeah. And he's damn good. And he's got mentors and all this stuff. And I like learning person from the guru, the mentor aspect. Someone teaches you something. I personally like that. It fits me better. Those things didn't start feeling okay to me. Like I was practicing jazz independence in my studio hour after hour. And I love jazz independence. I'm not the biggest fan of jazz.
Well, that's schooled player stuff. I get you. Yeah, totally.
So for some reason, that was the barometer. You were a good or bad drummer if you could or could not play jazz. And when I was 19, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I do love the tribal, the metronomic aspect, the meditative aspect of being there working on rhythms. Mm-hmm. And then that's where that conversation that happened, which I was like, I don't like jazz that much. Whatever you said. I didn't mean to incriminate him. But I was
when he said to be good at jazz.
When he said it, I was like, I don't really like it either. and I'll tell you this, I listen to more of it now than ever, and I don't dislike it, and I'm sure Jody doesn't dislike it, but that's something you feel. To come full circle here, you might feel obligated to play a certain style of music. Like your parents might say, hey, play in church, or you might be, well, I'm not good if I don't play this style. That's not true. Make sure your personality is peeking through the entire time. Don't lose that.
Right.
But it sounds like you dabbled in all sorts of things, which is another thing that we want our listeners to understand and feel too, is like it's okay to go play and do things that you might not enjoy, but that's part of the journey.
Yep, my heroes and the songs that I play are pulled from jazz in certain situations. Absolutely. Merle Travis, especially the swing stuff.
Oh, you do a version of Georgia that's like, whew,
that's Jerry Reed, baby.
One of the Georgia from
that's
one
of
the
Jerry Reed's
sweetest complex chords, jazzy as it can be.
It's beautiful.
I think we were at a gig one time. You're like, you want to play this one? I'm like, no, I'm not gonna play that. Look at your hand. A tarantula on the neck right there. I ain't playing that.
Hell, he's spreading it out. Son, that dude was way beyond his public face. Yeah, he really was.
Oh yeah.
I still love it all though.
He wasn't just a Louisiana
truck driver from Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah. He wasn't just that.
Yeah,
that was a complex human being.
Yeah.
Very intellectual, actually.
So you sought out mentors.
I did.
Did you go see a lot of live music when
Absolutely.
you were younger?
Yeah. Well, back in the 80s, of course, I was playing in a band called Desmond Steele. And, we all had, rivalry bands, I guess you would say, but we were so far out of the loop, 20 miles down the road, that we weren't, friends. Everybody, all those guys went to school together.
Yeah.
So me, John, and Kelly, we were all just Stan River. We just kind of head up in a barn drinking beer and
Yep.
And let's figure out this Iron Maiden song. And like I say, there was no videos, there was no YouTube, there was nothing to go by.
Yeah.
So you just basically had to figure it out for yourself. You know,
I wasn't ready for that pause.
that's exactly the way it worked. Yeah. And we got okay at it. And we found a drummer that could from Roanoke, which is Chuck. And he could actually count this. Well, he could play the stuff, but we all had to just sit down and figure out how to count it out, when to start it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and all this stuff. So in that barn, that's how we learned how to play. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, you'll do a lot to get to where you are, just to play music. Playing in a barn, probably hot. Was it hot in there?
It was hot. There were spiders everywhere.
Spiders in there. You're taking your equipment in there, plugging up.
It stayed in there, actually. At least it didn't leak. That was the main thing. We had fly strips hanging down.
Oh, my God.
And that's kind of where the party started, too, because it became, obviously in high school, whenever we got driver's licenses and stuff, that became the weekend party place.
Right.
So here I'm explaining to my mom, well, we're just having,
two people are over this.
Well, he got the flu. That's why. Anyway, we had a lot of fun. That's how we learned how to play. And it wasn't like that all the time. There were times where we were playing these tunes and trying to learn them that, you just get through it.
Listen and learn.
Yeah,
and you cultivate the ear that way.
Yeah, that's the best ear training. I think the way I learned is the best way you could ever learn how to play your instrument.
Because if you're doing it on YouTube, you might. I'm really good at watching somebody doing something and doing it back.
I've seen you play harmonies back to me.
Yeah.
No, you got a great ear.
But I had a great eye at first. When I learned to play drums by watching this movie called Girls Just Want to Have Fun, I got the back view of a drummer playing. I saw the coordination. What I am is coordinated more than musical, honestly. Right. And I was like, all right, let me see if I can do that. Okay, Mom, can I get a drum kit? No. So then I had to work and, Mom, can I get a drum? No. And by the time I got it, I realized I only knew that one beat, right? But over the years playing with so many people, I'm like, I would see people. I don't think I've seen you do this. I got a couple friends that will close their eyes to learn. They're older friends.
Sure.
They just want no distraction, so they can distinguish the intervals that are happening. And
absolutely.
That's what I do.
Yeah. It wasn't until I started playing with my friend Joel, who plays with M Plastic, and he is amazing at it. If you're listening, Joel Spencer, I appreciate you. And my ear was good. It was fine. And playing with you guys, I'm like, man, I gotta get better. And now, you spend time, just close your eyes, listen, try to pick it. It's an art, you're focusing on this one, you're privileging this one sense.
As a matter of fact, I think you coined, or you didn't coin it, but the level of audiation that people have. I remember you telling me that years ago, talking about audiation and playing licks back to people. And that's important. I mean, not that you're trying to,
it's a conversation.
Stroke your ego. Yeah.
No, it's conversation.
It totally is. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and I assume that's probably the biggest way you learned is, okay, I'm going to play this way. And then you play it back, and it's not only visual, but it's auditorial and, you're using your senses, and that's what makes good musicians. That can feel.
Yes.
They're using your senses.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
And then, and in the same token, some people can BS so well, or they just look so good doing it that they get by as well. And I actually have a lot of love for those people. Sometimes I have to turn up that particular knob in my.
Right. Well, we are in show business, so I mean,
can you play this? Yeah, let's just figure that out.
Sure.
Right. I need a week.
Can't play it like that, but I'll make it look good. I'll tell you that.
And I don't necessarily know that that's a bad thing, because sometimes you're like, well, I can't really do it that way. Does this sound good? And, if you're playing multiple instruments, I think it's okay to do that.
Like Terry Annabas played the banjo, the guitar, played the dobro. And he's another guy you guys might want to think about.
Yeah, we should. Is he still playing it all? He's doing Fuzzy
yeah. Well, he's doing a lot of production. He's still in Fuzzy, too. Terry Annabas, if you want to write that down.
Terry was our sound guy for the last House Schmidt show.
Bang. That's your boy.
Terry Hannah.
I'd say he's probably been through the ringer more than I have in terms of omniscient.
I ragged on him. I'm not to digress, but I want everybody to know I ragged on him for coming and running sound at Jubial Town Center. He's got his big old fuzzy Logic truck out there. I was like, that's free PR. He's like, it is.
Yo, he's a bit Terry's. I don't know much about him. I know he taught at Fratmo when we were there. He's a businessman.
Oh, he is.
Love that dude,
and a farmer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's more country than I am. Just so you know.
Oh man, he was one of those guys that I would be at Fret Mill and he'd greet you, and I didn't see him as much, but he wouldn't greet you without something funny coming out of his mouth.
Absolutely.
It was a joke. It wasn't, "Hey, how are you doing?" It'd be like, "Hey, well, guess what I heard," and it would be some kind of joke.
We used to do a hoedown or a duo called the Hoedown Boys. And we would do it whenever a duo job would ever come around, and a decent one. And one of my favorite gigs, well, a lot of my favorite gigs, was watching him play the banjo. That was a good day at the office. Because, I mean, I'll put his banjo playing up against anybody's. And he heard that right now.
Uh-oh.
Seriously. I mean, it's not Bella Fleckish. It's not jazzish, but it's full-blown bluegrass banjo playing.
Yeah.
And he just rips it. He really does. So, hats off to you, bro.
So let's switch gears to Fret Mill.
Sure.
So tell us that journey. How'd you get in there?
This is I met Ken when I used to take lessons from Ken actually, because I started playing guitar when I was 9, and I was taking lessons from a guy named Carl Prater. And he was actually a community guitar teacher. I don't forgot how my mother got his phone number. But I was 9 years old, went there, and Alan Saunders was a schoolmate of mine in the 4th grade, and that's where he was taken from. And so Mr. Prater was teaching me how to sight read, which anybody, if you learn how to sight read, just stay with it. I mean, it's a good thing to know how to do. It's not necessary, but if you can read at an intermediate level, it totally helps if you're in a band situation.
It really does.
You'll find yourself saying yes more often.
Absolutely.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
No, that's
or having the ability to go yes.
Yes.
If you want it.
Right. And so anyway, he died. And so when he died, my brother said, "Well, you killed him." Anyway,
Wow. Thanks, bro.
This is funny. It's just older sibling.
Yeah.
So after he had his heart attack and he was gone, we went down to Fret Mill, and Ken probably couldn't have had that place open more than a few months. And he was showing me the bluegrass stuff, and that was all good. It was all good. Debbie was working the front end, and I took from him for a while. Then Tim Saul, I took from Tim Saul for a while, and then Daryl Sweeney. And Daryl actually showed me. Daryl was a big Jimmy Page fan. And he showed me some of those Zeppelin tunes and things like that. Here again, the tabs were wrong. There was no videos for this stuff.
They probably still are wrong.
It might be. So anyway, learned from him. And I stayed with the lessons till I was probably about 13, 14 years old. And I kind of got the gist of it. I was still working on my ear. And then this whole metal thing just kind of took me. And my teachers at that time, of course, were older than me. Of course, the new music comes out, and you want to try to play it. And they don't really understand where it's coming from. So you buy a distortion pedal and
head your own way.
There you go. Here we go. And then, but when the VHS stuff came out, that helped a lot. It really did. So
you started watching some of those videos?
Yeah, I did. But still, Randy Rhoads and Eddie, I mean, geez. Mm-hmm. Those guys are so good. They were ahead of their time. Mm-hmm. Anybody that tries to replicate what they're doing sounds like an imitation.
Let me ask you, what makes, and this is not coming from a doubtful perspective or questioning, what makes them stick out so much to you?
They invented what they did.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
That's straight up. They invented it.
Nice.
And they made it up on the spot, and they had the skill level. I don't know. Of course, Randy was more of a school player than Eddie. But at the same time, Eddie came from a situation where his dad was a big band player, mm-hmm. and he would drag him to gigs and make him play these charts.
Yeah.
So he schooled as well, just not in an academic sense.
I often felt like, and it's total speculation, that he just actually was far more educated than he ever wanted to let on to. That's not what pushed him.
Right.
That is full speculation unless you know more than.
He even said himself at 9 years old he could play Mozart on the piano.
Okay.
And the way he learned how to do it was because Alex could read it, and then he would watch Alex do it and memorize it and play it back.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And I really love how they have no interest in proving that, or you see them creating from the get-go. This is something where a lot of my friends and I talk. We talk about projects. It's very important for me to create.
Sure.
I love creating, and if I'm going to play somebody else's song, I've already got a new way to try. I'm not saying it's good by any means. I'm like, I know my skill set would be better if I did it this way.
Right.
So there's an art in doing things exactly right. There's an art in doing your version, and there's most certainly art in creating. Yeah. And I fall in that creation. I just love to create stuff that doesn't exist right now.
Well, I've only heard Jody one time in my lifespan of 37 years.
You're gonna hear him again tonight.
I'm going to, but I feel like what you're saying, Jeremy, about that creativeness, even when it comes to covers, that's what you do.
Yes.
You take it and make it your own, and the crowd still knows it, but it's still very enjoyable.
After I've learned the composer intended version.
Okay. So you give credit to the composer first,
Absolutely.
and then it changes
Yes.
the iteration of the way it comes out for you.
Mm-hmm.
I need to process that.
No, it's brilliant.
No, it is. No, that's what I'm saying.
Because then Jody does it his way, full on, unabashed.
After I've
He's
learned
do
the
it this
composer
way.
intended
But it's
version.
such a respectful way of literally respecting the artist.
Yeah, well, you got to learn the song first before you can mess with it.
I don't think people do that all the time. And I say that because I know that I didn't
guess
do
so,
it all
yeah.
the time. No, I
Right.
didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Right.
I wanted to change things because I wanted
Sure.
it to make it my own, right?
Right,
And
right.
I'm not sure that way of thinking is it's not a right or wrong thing. It's
Yeah,
just
I love this debate. I love
Yeah.
people having the debate.
Yeah.
I love being a part of it. I can sit down silently and just watch people have
Just
the debate.
speaking for myself, that's
well, I'm at a point too right now where I'm creative juices are flowing.
Yes.
So like, and I want
Excuse me?
my creative juices are flowing. And I just want to nurture those creative juices.
Put that out on the podcast.
right.
So it's nice to see. And I only sat there for an hour. We were out with some friends, and I heard you just introduced yourself, but I did hear the Georgia. You did
Nice.
play it that night.
Oh, yeah, you
I
told
did,
me
and it was
that.
gorgeous. So
It's beautiful.
no, it was
Even if I could play it, I'd rather listen to somebody play it.
But then he went into like chicken fried right after that. So like so but you would also you also are like, what do you guys want to listen to? And like somebody yelled something and you started playing it, which that blew my mind completely. And it was like, because I would be like, my anxiety's at like a level 14 right now. I can't do that for you. So sorry.
Right.
So I'm impressed with people that can just do things off the top of their head.
Well, thank you. It's not necessarily nailing it, too. I mean, people, when they request a song, if they're not a musician, if somebody is a musician, then it's a little different situation. But if somebody says, well, play this song, I'll give them a verse and a chorus, you know?
There's so we used to call you the human jukebox at Fret Mill.
Right.
Or I think Ken started it, honestly. Ken, if you didn't start it, I'm sorry. Come on the podcast, tell me you didn't do it. But at that point, you can bring the threshold down. If you're in a crowd and somebody's like, "Hey, play the Eagles," blah blah blah, and you never played it,
Exactly.
that expectation can drop a little bit because the energy in the room, they're just asking for something they can grab onto for a
Right.
second. They're asking for a little rope they can swing by on. This last weekend, my friend Andy was doing it. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I like watching it happen. I go to a piano bar and watch them hack through everything,
Right.
literally and I put the focus on everything. They know everything, but they're hacking through it. You have to. Nobody can know that many songs.
Right.
And it was a small crowd. It was like 7-8 tables. Tables were 2 to 4, and he was like, "Well, you guys want to hear?" He went around the room, didn't give an option. I said, "This is like a game show. I have a bar idea. You could put the band in the middle and have tables around and be like, your turn." But you do get stumped, and I'm glad I'm not on the mic when we're stumped. I'm really glad. What do you ever get stumped?
Oh, yeah, totally. Well, I mean, I'm grateful to the fact that I'm not held to composer-intended versions of stuff sometimes. I mean, it's, like you're saying, it's just you kind of make it up and as you go along, and as long as you can get a verse and a chorus, you're pretty much
Get a
good.
verse and a-
Unless there's a hell yeah or something in there,
Do another verse?
Right, and then do another verse. You just got to roll back through it.
Oh man.
Right now, we're just eating up time. I ain't showing off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's on your watch, not mine,
Right.
Because you're paying me.
Thank you for the 20.
Musicians come out to hear musicians be musicians, right? Until you start getting a little bit older, and you go out and hang out with your buddy who is a musician. And you got to take both of those things into account. If you're going out to watch your teacher play, if you're going out to watch somebody you respect play,
Right.
keep in mind they're running a business, and it might only be just for a little bit of supplemental income. They're running a business, and if they're out there and they're getting paid $100, $150,
Right.
but there are 4 tables requesting things, and they do lesser than composer intended versions, but they
Right.
get a 20 dropped in. Well, they're going home with
Exactly.
$250 that night. They weren't there
Yes.
to show you their scales.
Totally.
And that should be said. And if I got to be the bad guy, hey,
Well, they're there to be entertained, not for an education.
Yeah.
You know,
all of it's
totally.
beautiful. All of it's beautiful.
I
But
think
just
so.
know that
Yeah.
they're 2 very different things. And I still
Absolutely.
struggle with it. I still don't say, ew, I don't play. We're not going to be good at it.
The-
Drop money in the bucket. Rock
Yep.
on.
The word entertained has come across this table
Yeah.
and these microphones
Yeah.
multiple times by multiple artists that we've had on this podcast, and it is something that I'm learning to accept more and more. I want when you're young and still trying to make a name in a town, you want to do things your own way in a sense, and it's not necessarily the right way. I've learned the hard way in a sense from those things, and just hearing it brings joy to my heart because I'm getting there. I'm getting to like that entertainment value because I don't want to play some of these songs, and you might not like all the stuff that you play. You hate
been
jazz,
in-
but you love fusion.
I've been in so many bands where the songs I'm like going, all right, we'll get through this. Here we go. You know. So I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of that going on, big time. Yeah.
We'd be lying. I mean, Andy looks back all the time, and he's like, "Hey, let's play this," because he'll shoot for anything. And by the time he hears this, he's gonna be like, "When am I coming on the podcast?" I have stuff.
He's got to defend himself.
These aren't attacks. I'm sorry. I don't like it. But that doesn't mean I won't go and do my damnedest to make it work.
Right.
Let's be clear. I
Yeah.
don't like it. Let's give it the old college try.
Sure.
And one of them in particular, it's a Poison song. And so he's got certain people that come out and see him. They're like, "Dude, talk dirty to me." And as soon as I see there's like a $5 bill coming out, and I'm like, "Don't say it." Talk dirty to me. He's like, "Yes, ma'am." Turns around. I'm like, and I'm such the curmudgeon, but at least I own up.
Do you ever
to
look
it.
at him and be
Right,
like,
right.
"That five's mine"?
No,
mine.
no, he can
If I
have
play
it.
it, that's fine.
You can
Suffered
have
the most for this song.
You can have that $5.
Yeah,
And if the
that's
person,
right. I've suffered the most for this song.
it's okay for me to not like that song as much as it's okay for that person to pay for it.
And
They're
like it.
both
That's
okay.
Oh, totally,
Yeah, this is a non-divisive
No, it really is.
situation here.
But it is fun to talk about.
Talk dirty.
It's the reality of the whole situation.
Well, so
I just twirl my sticks and it all goes away.
yeah, twirl these sticks and it's just smile back there. Well, let's talk about twirling sticks. You,
Ricky Rocket is a badass, and I'm kind of making fun of him here, but he's also a fellow jiu-jitsu dude. And he's a cool guy. So say that.
Jody-
You never know who's gonna watch.
Jody
I
has
did
a
not know
lot.
that.
He really is. He really
Wow.
is. We were at a NAMM show doing Boomwhackers, and he was I don't remember what company he was representing. He was on the other side. He's so tall.
Uh-huh.
He's cool. He shook everybody's hands.
Right.
Andy was like tripping out, and I've always enjoyed his drumming.
Sure.
I don't mind that flash. I just didn't really like that one song.
Right.
But he's a sweet dude, and he'll twist you up if he needs to. Ricky Rocket, what are you gonna say?
I don't.
What's this?
I don't know. We went jujitsu. That's
Huh?
we went to a jujitsu conversation.
Not now.
I know. What was I going to ask? We were going to talk about your charisma on stage. You were probably one of the most
Okay.
charismatic person I've ever seen on stage. I also think that you really know how to draw in a crowd
I appreciate
and give them what you. And again, I've only seen you once, and I mean, I'm going to look
Caught
at this
him on
guy.
a good day.
Caught him on a good day. Oh,
You
yeah.
did.
Tell me about that journey for you and what that's like to be on stage and what your job is up there.
Okay. Obviously, I want to entertain the crowd. And then sometimes it's hit and miss. I mean, it really is. But at the same time, the way I see it, if I'm having a good time amusing myself, then other people will probably like smile back. You know what I'm saying?
That's 100% true.
So yeah, that's where that whole thing comes from. It's nothing more than just wanting people that come out or spend money on drinks and dinner, and that stuff's expensive.
It is.
And I want them to at least stay for another drink, at least smile at something, look up from their phone. I mean, I think if you can get them to look up from their phone, you're doing real damn good.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the whole thing with that. And when you're playing these tunes that are upbeat, happy, I don't really. Well, of course, I'm not really a miserable person on that end of things. I'm trying to keep. They're there to be entertained. That's just basically it. So if you want to throw a bunch of chops at them, you can. Just be careful that the melody don't stray too far away.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we just want to keep
said.
it.
No, I mean that's very well said. And listen to that, younger listeners, older listeners too. You don't have to.
I learned that from Tim Martin and guys like him. Mm-hmm. You want to
because that guy can shred.
Yes, he can. He's wonderful, and like Brad told me too. I mean, you have to carry with yourself. That's what makes you define who you really are. Or doing a solo gig is the most personal, defining musical thing you could really ever do.
Yeah,
it really is, because it's just you and a guitar, and you're playing and singing for people. And the only advice that I would give somebody like that: find songs that you like to play that make you smile, and play it for people. I guarantee you they're gonna like it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean 100%.
They do.
No, I mean they do, and then they'll respect you more because you're up there.
Yeah. Yep. And I've even said, y'all want to hear anything? No, just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
All right, here's another song that I like. And I hope you like it too.
I'll say this. I'm not disagreeing with the charisma thing at all, but here's see if I can formulate this. It's not an act with Jody. I think it's just he's one of the most pure-hearted people.
No.
And I'm not saying you were implying it was an
not at all.
act. He just he's all heart. I mean,
the happiness that's coming out of this guy, just
getting.
in the passion that's coming out of him, just in this 40 minutes that we've been talking right now. Like that's my
God,
point.
has it been that long?
It has, but charisma doesn't have to be an act. And to your point, it
can just be you.
You don't have to get up there and be fake for people. I think people will read that quicker.
Most of the time I'm tired. Like, all right, give me another beer.
Yeah. No, that's especially if you're singing.
Yes, absolutely.
So I could be a secondary player all day, and I would enjoy that.
Yeah.
I think you even said that before we hopped on the podcast. Like,
vocals is not my strong point, but I'll do it when I do.
And I mean, maybe it's a good time to talk about, do you play anything else, Jody? Just guitar and singing? You play a little anything?
Just, some bass and stuff. And I do have a keyboard at home, and yes, I'm not keyboard illiterate, but I'm nowhere near a piano player.
Yeah. I mean, I consider myself multi-instrumental because I can get a lot of things
Oh, you're
done.
way better at it than I am.
but there's a good and so we can segue into there's a good and a bad for this type of thing. Like, you can tell when somebody is hyper focused on an instrument. You start putting time into this industry and time about your instrument.
Yes.
People will be better than you at first, right? And then you'll grow and sprout and all the things, and your musical taste will change, and then you'll be able to pick out people who focus on one thing more than the others.
Right.
And, you're one of them to me. I mean, just when
I agree.
It's not a bad thing. Just the touch,
Yeah.
the way you touch your instrument, there is not any doubt in what's going on there. If you spend time doing multiple things, and I'm not saying you can't get there. There's guys like Mike Keneally. If you haven't heard of Mike Keneally, check him out.
Yes, please.
You might not love the music, but man, you love the dude.
Totally badass.
But yeah, you could just tell. Like, if there's a season, you pick it up, the hands go, and it's just like, okay. And it's comforting to the people you play with.
Mm-hmm.
It's comforting to the people listening to you.
Yes.
And, there's two different ways to look at that as well.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. I mean,
I will say this to anybody that's starting music: piano theory or understanding of the keyboard is pretty important. The guitar made more sense to me once I started to understand middle C and what's below it and what's above it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, totally.
Well, what I was going to ask, how long did you teach at Fret Mill?
10 years.
I think you were there when I got there, and I taught there about 7.
Yeah. I taught Sam Thomas.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Sam Thomas has got 4 Grammys as a mastering engineer. Great player too.
He played guitar, right?
He did. Yeah.
So, is this your full-time gig? Just playing music?
It was
teaching
for
music?
a very long time. Then as the economy and all this other stuff went along, I basically just did other jobs. I was a support guy for a payroll company for a few years too. So computer stuff, SQL Server, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Get a little technical, and then after that, really, it's always been you need something to fall back on. Well, guess what? I kept falling back on was being a musician. And I will say this. I mean, in economic times, and people are hurting now, and so are businesses. But then, 15, 20 years ago, you could make pretty good money. Because inflation wasn't so bad.
Sure.
You could make pretty good money on tips and a gig, and you do a couple of those a week, and that's a week's pay for a good paying job.
Yeah.
So just saying.
I mean, I have weeks like that line up even now. Yeah. I'll look at the calendar and be like, I got 4.
Right.
Okay. And at the end of the week, I'm like, okay, all right. I feel good about myself.
Bills
this
are
week.
paid, and there's some left in the bank. I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
Need new tires? Let's get them on right now.
Yep. And that's the perspective a lot of working musicians are coming.
Yeah. I see it more as a trade. I really do.
It is a trade.
It is.
It is a trade.
We are tradesmen.
But it's really well said. And I could actually drink a beer and think about that. Put it all together. You got the carpenter.
We get to drink at work. Yes, we
got the electrician, the sound guy. You got. Go ahead.
It is a trade.
It is. It's a trade.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never heard it been put that way, and I'm sitting here thinking, that's
your mind's spinning. I've been watching it.
I know, but that's what it is for me. He's like blowing my mind.
Jet lag. It's jet lag.
Get the old man in here. Let him.
Yeah.
Jody's always had a really beautiful way with he. I don't like this particular phrase. It is what it is. I don't like that. I don't know why I don't like it. But he's been very simple and direct with all. He's got a quote that I'm going to beat him to on this. You know what it is?
No.
Are you sure?
Go ahead.
We'll play gigs and stuff, and I still learn from Jody, and he'll say the song will always win, and I'm like, nobody, you can't argue with it. You can't argue with it. And I'll just like to play. I'll play devil's advocate with myself, by the way. But the song always wins.
Yeah,
and,
it does.
And if you
every single time,
that doesn't. Yeah, there's so much wisdom in that one sentence. I'm glad I beat you to it because I have said it when you haven't been present. I'm like,
the
guys,
song
guys.
always wins.
The song will always win.
And that also goes back to my composer intended version of the song, and then the song always wins, always.
When I told Leilani you were coming on this one, she was, "Oh, I love him."
Oh,
those are the words.
Love her too.
And we got you a chicken pot pie upstairs.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she made chicken pot pie.
Oh,
I was like, "When you made chicken pot pie?"
Jeremy took care of
this country
everything.
boy's got me going.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, well," she was like, "So is Jody coming on the podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." She, "Oh, yeah, I'll make it."
Oh,
because I think you came over and had it.
thank you, Lay.
Yeah, and thank you, Leilani. She went out of her way to. She's got Ella tonight. She made the pot pie, so we're gonna be enjoying that pot pie.
Right on.
Did I just let the cat out of the bag that you get dinner when you come on the podcast?
Yeah, you did.
We-
Now
just got on the
everybody's going to
plane.
expect dinner.
Exactly.
Thanks, pot pie for everybody. No, I mean, this is a kind of how I started House of Schmidt was to hang out, feed, then play music.
Sure.
And like
If you want to get musicians in a room,
Feed them.
feed them and drink, give them drinks.
Give them beer,
No.
right?
Well, Jeremy can attest to this. That's the way it was when he first came to rehearse with us when he filled in. It's to me, it's about building his family idea of
It
you know
is.
you're spending a lot of time with these people. You might not like them all the time,
Exactly.
but you gotta respect them and you gotta respect what you're doing and where they've come from and where you coming from, and it's a journey. And so like this whole solo idea is like, oh God, that's nice. But it's hard. But it's not for everybody.
It's not.
And I'm calling this episode Jubial Jody.
Jovial.
Jubial.
I like that.
I'm
Jovial Jubal. Let's do that.
Jovial
Jubal.
Jubal Jody. So, dude, I mean, and I do want to tell our viewers, because we have made fun of me a lot of being OCD. I have no script this evening, ladies.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
I was going to, because that's who I am, and so I'm looking directly at the camera, smiling and everything. So no, this has become secondhand almost here of late, because I am enjoying it so much, and I've never met you until tonight. I've heard you once.
Very
and
nice to meet you.
That's what I love about this podcast and what it's doing. So again, I'm gonna plug it and say, if you want to be on here, message us, message Jeremy or I, or find our production manager Ryan Hunt, and we'll work on it. So
just come share. Even if you're new and up and coming, if you got some stuff we can listen to, just come share it, man.
Speaking of new and up and coming, I'd like to plug something.
Plug him.
Just realize that you will not be aired until today is the August 16th.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Do you have an event coming up?
Yeah.
I can't remember that far in advance.
Okay.
I know there's something
Let
in
us
August,
know,
but I can't
and we'll
remember
make
what.
sure it gets posted.
Right on. Thank you, Travis. Thank you guys for having me.
No, so we're not done yet.
We got to pick a little bit, right?
We're gonna pick, but we're gonna hit you with what Jeremy and I have. More Jeremy than I. We call it the Buddy Gauntlet.
Okay. I'm gonna ask something, but because we're doing good on time.
No, yeah.
We were talking about this charisma, which is the fifth C that you added.
I was saying
Charisma
it could possibly be a fifth C.
So I've been mildly distracted in my mind thinking about artists who had nothing but charisma.
Right.
And you watched them anyway. So what I'm saying is, can you find an artist in your head that you enjoyed? They weren't the best musician. They weren't. I'm not saying they're bad, everybody, but they are just more charismatic than they could do with themselves. There are plenty of musicians like that out there.
Elvis. Flat out. I mean, Elvis had great bands. He had great songs. I mean,
Bob Dylan would be that for me because
Okay.
I
Right on.
can't stand his voice. And
Sure.
but he's and
Right.
I'm gonna probably get hate for that.
Yeah, I'm
and
not
that's
going to
fine.
disagree with you. Right?
So I couldn't, but his music is out of this world.
Yeah,
it's just tough. It's tough to watch him. It's
It
tough
is.
to watch him
It
because I know
is.
it's coming out.
Yeah.
So I've got one, and I don't want to say it.
Do it. I just gave.
I don't
the
want
world-
any. There's a lot of people out here. I don't want going around. There's a lot of people I don't want even to look this up. But Gigi Allen. Yeah.
I don't know who.
It was.
Now I'm going.
Yeah, it was gross. It was,
Yeah, he sang out of both ends, basically.
he sang out. It was a weird, gross show, but people would flock for a little while. I think. But so I've been spending this whole time going, what do you think about this? Because there are other people. I just couldn't think of any right now.
Okay.
So I hope somebody doesn't go look this up.
You go
Like
on.
you told my.
Oh, I
Explain yourself.
Well, so shock rock at its best, or shock punk rock,
Absolutely,
right?
yep.
Like Gore wasn't a bad band,
No,
but
not
it
at
was
all.
more about that production, that show. But charisma and production are different things. Charisma is just when you walk in with a certain energy, or you can hold. There's a magnetism about yourself, and certain people just play that way.
Right.
A lot of folk guys have. It's not about how well they're doing anything. It's about the story they're telling. Right. So it's just another avenue. I've been sitting here this whole time thinking about that. Wish I could come up with some more. Sorry. You ready for the Buddy Gauntlet?
Gigi Allen. I totally told you. That's great.
I learned him from some of the Fret Mill cats 20 years ago. I'm like, oh, gross. But I guess he made
You saw
money.
that movie too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is the Buddy Gauntlet. So,
Okay.
Top 3 musical influences. You only
Okay.
get 3.
Okay. Well, obviously, got to go with Eddie Van Halen. Got to go with Jerry Reed. Number 3, I need to take it out of rock. And I need to put it somewhere else without guitar players.
You put 5 in your bio, and I purposely didn't read them.
Okay.
It's hard, right? That's why we do
It's so
3.
hard.
It
Three is hard.
really is. I will say this. What was the name of that band? Narrow, that did some dubstep stuff. That stuff was pretty cutting edge, if you ask me. It came out a few years ago. I think it was called Night Thunder,
How do you spell narrow? Just in.
Nero, and the name of the song is Night Thunder. And this came out like 10 years ago, but geez, the sonic, it was no guitars in it. It's all synthesized, but geez, this dude, like, he wrote some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
He really
Narrow.
did.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Top non-musical influence.
Ric Flair, baby. Woo!
Yes, I am so happy.
Hit it out of the park on that one.
That's fantastic. Are you an avid wrestling fan?
Somewhat. I mean, I enjoy the entertainment value of it, and that it's that stuff that reminds you you're there to entertain people.
I'm gonna let him slap me in my chest like Ric Flair does.
I don't like the word slap and chest in the same sentence. Slap my chest. I don't like it.
That's what Ric Flair did.
I know.
Okay.
He did the slap. He had a word for it. I can't remember what it was.
It was this way. Backhanded it.
Wahoo McDaniel called it the Wahoo chop.
Wahoo chop.
Yeah, that's what he
Wahoo
called it.
chop.
I don't know what Flair called it.
Backhand your chest if you don't.
But
watch
Flair's
out.
move was a figure four. Once
Yeah.
he got you in figure
That's
four,
right.
you're done.
Yeah.
he did totally.
Four.
All right. One opinion that has completely changed for you. Something you once believed wholeheartedly and you did a 180. It does not have to be musical.
Okay. I would say that to be happy is that you have to have money. It helps, but it ain't gonna make you happy,
So you used to think that was the case,
Yeah.
and then you changed your mind about money.
right? I mean, as much as I want to say that, I want everything I own to be paid off, and I really do, but would that really make me happier than I am sitting here right now? No, but it would make me more relaxed.
Yeah, yeah.
And
There you
there's a big difference between
There
them.
is.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah, because you're living in this moment and you're enjoying every bit of it.
I
So
think that's one of them I had at some point. I'm really fascinated with, and I've said this a bunch of times, just what people change about their mindset, about their opinions. And we all have them. You're like, you know what? You feel this way, and then one day through a series of events or an experience, you go, I don't feel that way anymore.
Right.
And I just like talking about it. And it's not musical, just
Right.
like talking about it because we all deserve the opportunity to change our minds and to explain why we did it. And I think there's a lot to learn from that.
And the measuring stick is gone too.
But
Yeah.
I would completely disagree with you, Jeremy, because I was sitting on the plane today and like I was listening to one of our podcasts that we released today, and I was thinking, the Buddy Gauntlet, that third question has everything to do with music, even if it's not a musical answer, because music is ever changing, and we have to adapt, and we have to change and adapt with it, and that's what's the beauty behind that question is how are you willing to grow and flow with it.
Yeah.
So
Totally. Excellent.
Jody, you have been nothing but a joy.
Thank y'all for having me.
Been a ball.
Been a ball. Been a ball. You want to tell our viewers what we're going to play for you?
Yeah, we're going to do a little
them.
version. It's an Eric Clapton song called Lay Down Sally, but I'm going to throw a little Jerry Reed on it. Son!
So, ladies and gentlemen, Jody Ensor, we're going to play a little song for you. We'll see you in a few.
Lord have mercy. Here we go. Who told y'all wasn't doing this, right? Oh. Well, there's nothing that is wrong wanting you to stay here with me. I know you got somewhere to go. Won't you make yourself at home and stay with me? And don't you ever leave. Lay down, Sally. Rest you in my arms. Don't you think you want someone to talk to? Lay down, Sally. No need to leave so soon. I've been trying all night long just to talk to you. Sun ain't nearly on the rise, and we still got the moon and stars above. So don't you go and say goodbye. You can put your worries down and stay with me. And don't you ever leave. Lay down, Sally. Rest you in my arms. Don't you think you want someone to talk to? Lay down, Sally. No need to leave so soon. I've been trying all night long just to talk to you. Long to see the morning light, color in your face so dreamily. So don't you go and say goodbye. You can put your worries down and stay with me. And don't you ever leave. Lay down, side, rest you in my arms. Don't you think you want someone to talk to? Lay down, side, no need to leave so soon. I've been trying all night long just to talk to you one more time. Lay down, side, rest you in my arms. Don't you think you want someone to talk to? Lay down, Sally, no need to leave so soon. I've been trying all night long just to talk to you.